What's going on, YouTube? Back in the garage again. Jumping back on the CRX. I got a bunch of little things I gotta do before spring, so hopefully I can get it all done. Today we're going to be installing a turn signal switch for the 88 to 91 Honda CRX. It's a pretty much straightforward install, but if you haven't done it before, it could seem to be a little intimidating. It really isn't all that bad. It's just going to show you the ins and outs and the little screws here and there and where they are and how I go about doing it. So if you like what you're seeing and like the videos I'm putting out, please like and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. Other than that, let's just jump right into it and get this thing done. Alright, first thing I do is I put my steering wheel straight. Last thing you want to do is when you go to put this all back together is not put your steering wheel straight where you need to be. Then you'll end up having to straighten your wheels and pull your steering wheel back off and put it back on so it's nice and straight a couple of times until you get it 100%. It could be a pain in the butt. So the best thing to do is put your steering wheel straight first. Then after that, I get a little, I call it a little jibby jabber pokey thingy, and you want to pull out your Honda label right here. This pops out. You can use a flathead screwdriver. I like to use a little pointy thing like this so I don't mess up my steering wheel. And you want to be careful when you pull this out because this chrome right here will chip if you're not careful. So carefully pry that out. It'll just pop right out. See if I can't do this with one hand. Oh. There we go. As you can see, I chipped it a little bit, so I'm probably going to order another one. You can see how that chrome is, it chips up real easy. I might have to go get another one. It came off, son of a bitch. I might have another one laying around. If not, I'll just order one. It's not a big deal. Alright, next step after your steering wheel is straight and you pull your Honda cap out of the center here, there's a nut down inside. That is a 19mm nut. I use a deep socket with the extension to reach down inside. Put that in. Then I put my, I'm getting close, put my ratchet. Unfortunately, this is the shortest ratchet extension I grabbed. You might want to use a smaller extension when it comes like to right here. It's lefty loosey, righty tightsy. So when you go to loosen this, just have your other hand up here so your steering wheel doesn't move around. Make it a little easier to break it loose. Okay, after you get your steering wheel pulled off, you'll see this metal ring on the outside of this plastic that will just pop right off. Just pull that off, put that aside up there. Then you can, there's this, I guess it's a ground for your horn. I'm not exactly sure exactly what it's for, but you can pull that off now. Just remember the lettering go on top. Set that up there. Alright, after you pull that centerpiece off, you have, I believe it's three Phillips head screws you have to remove. There's one right here, and I believe there's one down here. Yeah, all the way down here. So you have to remove your fuse panel cover to get that one all the way at the bottom. Okay, after you get your 3 screws, Phillips head screws, they're going to be small little guys. somewhere around like that size. Get those 3 out, one there, one all the way at the bottom. Then you can simply just carefully separate this plastic piece. It's like it's kind of like just has intertwined plastic, I wouldn't say, like tabs that interlock each other. I'll show you more once I get it all apart, but that you just gently separate the seam and it'll just pop loose. You might want to pull up on this one, on the bottom one part, so this rubber piece gets past the key mechanism, so it makes it easier to separate the whole thing. There's enough room for it. It's a little tight, especially with you got your hazard button up here, so you just carefully just separate it and it'll come all apart. Alright, I got the plastic pieces apart. This is what I was talking about with the tabs that kind of interlock with each other. There's a tab here, another tab. There's tabs all the way around it, but you just give it a little tug and it will just break loose. Just be gentle with it. This is a really old car, so if you're gentle with it, you won't break anything. Just be careful. Next step after that, set those pieces aside. Next step will be removing the 2 Phillips head screws, one in the middle there, one down in there. Remove those 2 and this whole section will slide off the steering column. When unplugging these plugs, there's little tabs. You just push on the tab. At the same time you're pushing on the tab, just pull out and they will just simply unplug. So it's kind of hard to do this holding a camera and trying to unplug it at the same time, but if I can do it with holding a camera in one hand, I think you guys will be fine. This one's being a little stubborn, so I might have to put the camera down. But yeah, just unplug them. Looks like there will be 5 plugs to unplug. There'll be one here, one right there, one here, one up top here, and one right there, one right here. Unplug all those and finish sliding this whole piece out. Alright, all the plugs are undone. Like I said, there's 5 of them. I just leave them in the same orientation. Leave this right where it is. Hopefully you didn't move it by now. And here's the unit right here. At this point I just flip it over, have those 2 screws come out, and I set those aside. But yeah, those are what they look like. Put those in there. And one fell somewhere. At this point I'm going to put this on a bench and disassemble this and replace. You're basically just replacing this side of it. So I'll show you how that all goes. Alright, so here we go. We got the old switches right here, which I'm going to be replacing this one right here, the headlight switch, turn signal switch. I got an aftermarket one. It's not a genuine Honda one. As you can see, there's difference. This has like ribs on it. This one doesn't. It has ribs on the bottom, but it just doesn't seem like the good quality as an OEM Honda, but it should be fine. It should work. Looks relatively the same. But first you got to take this switch out so you can install the new one. So first step is there's this metal piece right here. That's for your horn. You're going to want to remove this Phillips head screw right here, and underneath is like an electrical connector. What I do is I put a flathead screwdriver in there and I push up on it lightly, and it'll eventually just come disconnected. just be very careful with it. This is an old car. Things do break, so hopefully we can do this without breaking anything. Last thing I want to do is buy some more parts. So these screws aren't super tight, so keep that in mind when you go put this back together. Don't crank the crap out of it. It's just plastic. Take this, pull that out. Okay, now you gotta remove two screws. Screw here and a screw here. You don't remove those two screws, just these two screws right here. You don't need these two screws I'm taking out right now. Your new switch comes with new ones, so you can just. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put them back into the hole in the old switch, and keep the switch. I mean, it still works just in case I get another CRX or hatchback or something, and if I need a switch, I have one laying around, and it works okay, good enough. So in order to remove this switch now, after you remove these two screws, there's a little nub. I'll show you on this one. There's a little nub right here. That nub. That's this hole right there. You want to pull down on it just a little tiny bit. There's a tiny bit of play. You want to pull down on it a little bit, and at the same time you want to slide that direction. Here, I'll just show you. Pull down and slide, and it slides right out. Then set that aside. Get your new switch, which you gotta remove those two screws. Remove those two screws, set them aside. Then you simply just slide it right back in. You hear a slight click. That's how you know it's all the way in. Then put your new screws in to your new switch. Like I said, you don't want to tighten the crap out of these. It's plastic. Doesn't need much to be tight. Then after you get those two screws in, find that metal clip that you took off, reuse it. Simply plug it into the electrical connector on the bottom. Gently slide it in and put the screw back in. Alright, this is ready. Oh yeah, this feels so much more solid. This feels a little chintzy. I'm sure it'll be fine. Alright, ready to put back in the car. Okay, so time to put it all back together. So basically you just put it back together the way it came apart, just in reverse. First I just set this on here loosely, and then I plug in all the plugs into the back. Like I said, I have it loosely on here, so it gives me room to plug back in the plugs. When you plug it back in the plugs, you'll listen for a click. That's how you know that the plugs are plugged in all the way. Just give them a little good squeeze. Then slide this back down, and it should just line right up. You'll feel it like there's like a line of little pegs on the back side of the casing here. It will line up your holes for your casing. Then you want to put those screws in.
I usually start with the bottom one because you got to get it around your key mechanism. So it's easier if you put the bottom one on, then the top one on top of that, on the top, and it'll just squeeze. When you squeeze it together, the clips will snap into place. Bottom one, plastic part, I hold it all the way down here. Of course, you have to have, forgot to mention this, you have to have your steering wheel tilt all the way down, out of the way. Then I just put the plastic piece against the lock, slide it up, and put the lock through the hole. And I'll hold it in position for you to put the top part, plastic part on. Alright, top piece, it literally just slides in. Make sure your hazard button is through the notch. And then what I do is I just look at these tabs here. I first line up those, get those tabs to be on the inside. It's kind of hard to do with one hand right now. Just like that. Then you just work your way, both hands around the seam, just squeezing the whole thing together. They'll interlock with each other. Okay, like I said, you just work your hands around it. For some reason mine's a little loose right here, but it's alright. When I put the screws back in, it should suck everything back up. See how it goes in. Not only that, you have the metal ring around here that'll hold it all together too. But yeah, you just work your hands, work your way around the casing, this plastic casing, and just push the seams back together. Just pay attention that you're lining up the seam right here, so they're nice and even, and just work your way around both sides. And once you get to that point, you can put your 3 screws back in. One down here, one right here, one here, one all the way at the bottom. Alright, the steering wheel. Now I do have to put that one screw back in on the back side that I realize I'm missing, but I gotta pull this steering wheel back off because I gotta remove the dash. But just for the time being, I'll just quick throw it on. It's easy. Now you have your wheels are nice and straight, so you want to put your steering wheel on straight up and down also, the best that you can, of course. Looks good. You just line up the teeth, slide it on. Okay, then after that, you can put your 19mm nut back on. Now obviously you can't put your fingers down in there. I put it in this 19mm deep socket and slowly drop it down into the hole, and I back turn a little bit to line up the threads, and I slowly turn it in so to make sure I don't cross thread. Alright, after you get your nut back on, just nice and snug. You don't need to go crazy with it. It's not going to go anywhere. It's a nylon nut, so you don't have to worry about backing out. Get that nut back in, and simply put your Honda logo back on. Now, this just slides right in. It just push it and it pops right back in the hole. Man, I gotta find another one of those now. That sucks. That's what happens when you deal with real old cars. Okay, now time to test it out. Make sure. Oh, jeez. That switch feels weak. Works though. Okay, that should be marker. Let's see. Huh. No markers for you. Oh, no, they're on. Do I not have my front? Oh, I have a bulb out. That's why. Okay. Turn on the headlights. Headlights on. Both headlights are on. Markers are still lit. It's funny how bulbs just go bad like that. Alright, time to try the turn signals. Left is blinking. Make sure that one's not blinking for some odd reason. It's good. Okay. Got the right. And we're good. Alright. Alright, YouTube, that's going to finish up the video on the installation of the turn signal switches for the 88 to 91 Honda CRX. It's super easy. Don't be afraid to tackle it. If you find this information helpful, please like and subscribe. Greatly appreciate it. Till next time, take it easy.